So here's the deal. Most Americans support this, including Hispanic Americans. But in case you wondered how out of touch the Democrat Party is, because they're radical leftists, they are pledging across the country right now, losing their minds. They are going to resist the will of you. There's all kinds of misinformation out there. Donald Trump has a mandate. It's not about Donald Trump. It's about the mandate that's been given by the masses. And a big part of that is, yes, the majority of Americans, including the majority of Hispanic voters, believe that it is time to start deporting people. So let's get into how that happens, what kind of, and I said this before the election, look, Donald Trump can do two things of significance immediately upon beginning his presidency. He can sign executive orders or executive policies that will reduce the cost of energy. That'll help inflation. That'll change the economy quite a bit, and start dealing with the immigration problem, meaning enhance border security and at the same time start deporting illegal immigrants. Yeah. He can do that immediately, and those would be big wins, and they would have a direct impact on your day-to-day life, really within a matter of months. That's not hyperbole. So let's get to how this is done, and if he can do it, it's deportation time.
It's deporting time. Border jumpers, human traffickers,
drug dealers,
rapists,
cartels,
anchor babies. We're ready to get them out of here and send them back.
Fact check that, bitch. Now, Donald Trump.
The point.
What? Donald Trump posted this on Truth Social. So this was this week, that he is going to use the military to carry out mass deportations. Now, I want to be really clear about this, because the left will say, look, Donald Trump wanted to use the military or National Guard for the George Floyd protesters. That's correct. That's correct.
100%.
Yeah. Hold on. We're not talking about protesters. We're talking about arsonists. We're talking about rioters. We're talking about people who were executed in the streets. We are talking about billions of dollars in damages. Yep. I don't want martial law. I don't want a surveillance state. But yes, I certainly do think that people actually harming Americans need to be dealt with. And that's where the military, organized police force, National Guard, these would be appropriate. So Donald Trump said that he would use the military. And then Tom Fitton, the president of Judicial Watch, wrote, good news, reports are incoming that Donald Trump, the administration, is prepared to declare national emergency and will use military assets to reverse the Biden invasion through a mass deportation program. To which Donald Trump replied, true.
Thank you very much.
I give this no Pinocchios. So here's the deal. Most Americans support this, including Hispanic Americans. But in case you wondered how out of touch the Democrat Party is, because they're radical leftists, they are pledging across the country right now, losing their minds. They are going to resist the will of you.
I do think one thing you're going to find here is that
pause.
All sorts of
go back three frames. Go back three frames. I know I'm being a child. What is that lady on the left doing? Is she preparing for a stag film?
I think that's what I was thinking too. I was like, it looks like she's trying to seduce her college professor.
She's skeeting.
Yeah. Let's talk about ice.
She just had her vagina winterized.
Yes.
Oh.
I see. What
there's
is
a
she
storm
doing?
coming.
It's been permanently winterized. Come on.
All right. Okay. Sorry. Let's restart the clip because I'm a child. It's just that's distracting.
Yeah, she's looking at the guy on the right. That's who she's looking at.
No, she's looking at the girls, two to the right.
Okay. Let's play it.
I do think one thing you're going to find here is that all sorts of different networks of military officials are going to question the legality of them being enlisted in this mission.
Good luck.
The idea of calling out, the Army into the domestic confines of the United States seems uncalled for and may in fact be unconstitutional and illegal.
We'll start with Chicago
What we can
first.
do is make sure that we are doing our part to protect our residents in every possible way, that we are not cooperating with those efforts that actually threaten the safety of everyone.
If the Trump administration requests it, would the Massachusetts State Police assist in mass deportations?
No, absolutely not.
I will not tolerate actions that harm Arizonans, that harm our communities.
Well, why don't you cry about it?
Quite honestly, divert resources from providing real security at our border.
Oh yeah, divert resources. Hey, what have you done? What have you done to make Americans more safe? Let's ask two questions to these leftists. You couldn't have a more clear example of Monday morning quarterback. What have you done and what are the results? I listen to far more left-leaning podcast shows, news, than I do right-leaning. I want to know what it is that they're saying. And the talking point that they have used repeatedly is, well, actually, they did take actions to secure the border, Biden. And actually, they were very... Okay, let's just look. 3 million, Donald Trump, 15 to 20 million, Biden. So what have they done and what are the results? That's the reason that the majority of Americans, including the voting bloc you tried to buy, Hispanic Americans, through your pandering, support mass deportation. Something else that's lost in the shuffle here. Who do you think is most affected as we get to sanctuary cities? Legal immigrants here who are trying to assimilate. Well, they're afraid to call the police because their neighborhood is run by gangs. I don't know if you know this. If you live in a society where the criminals are willing to be violent and the law-abiding citizens actually remain law-abiding citizens, the criminals win. Violence wins out. We can't protect the kinds of immigrants who we want here to be safe. So let's go through some key facts here as far as what it is they can resist and what it is they can do nothing about. Key fact here, number one, is that Donald Trump does have the authority to mass deport. Sorry, libertarians, he does. The president is the chief law officer responsible for enforcing the laws written by Congress. Okay? He can, and said he will, declare a national emergency, which would give him the powers to carry out deportations. You can reference the National Emergency Act of 1976. He said, and again, we said this is the best way to start. He's going to start with criminal illegals. And I know what you're thinking. Everyone here is technically a criminal because they broke the law to get here. Sure, no, he's talking about people who have come here illegally but have also committed serious crimes since then. It's at least 1.4 million, right, illegals right now with deportation orders to start with.
And by the way, if this doesn't count as some kind of an emergency, then nothing does.
Yeah.
Right? So people are like, oh, he's declaring an emergency. No. We've declared emergencies for far less worrisome causes.
Right.
Okay? We should be able to do it for this.
Yep. There are other things he can do, too. He can use the emergency orders, by the way, to divert money. Like, for example, to hire more judges to process asylum claims. There's a lot that can be done.
The 6 or 7 year wait now for asylum claims is they just like, hey, run around the country for a little while until we get back to you.
And it's not like this is unprecedented. To give you an idea, like, you need to understand, it's just since it's been politicized, really that kind of started in 2016 when they said, oh, Donald Trump is a racist, where he said they're not sending their best. Before that, it wasn't all that controversial to say that, yeah, we need to deport criminals who are here in this country. Give you an idea, in 1954, Eisenhower deported about 1.3 million illegals under, and we don't need to hit the dump, it's the name, it was Operation Wetback.
We used to have a better sense of humor.
We were better at naming things for sure. Jeez. And you may not know this. It's not only is there president, but Barack Obama deported over 3 million illegal immigrants over the course of his presidency. The most ever.
Good.
That's incredible. I had no idea.
The most
over
ever.
3 million?
Over 3 million. And then Biden filled that hole right back up.
Now,
in the first few months.
Yeah, he did. I understand we typically, focus on the southern border, but look, if there are any illegal Canadians, I want them out too.
Yes.
Scandinavians out as well. All these people, if you have not come here legally, you can either go back to a warm place or a cold place. It's fine, either one.
Yes. And this brings us to, the resistance. Key fact number 2. It's actually illegal for Democrats in their municipalities and their states to harbor illegal immigrants. Okay? Let's be really clear about that, because this may get lost when you're watching and they're like, well, I guess they have the right to do that as a sanctuary city. And what federal powers does Donald Trump have? No. It's really, really clear. He does have the authority to do this. Rightfully so, by the way. And there's nothing inconsistent about holding that position as a conservative. And leftist mayors or governors do not actually have the authority to block it and to protect illegal immigrants. So last night, Los Angeles passed a sanctuary city ordinance with a unanimous vote.
Well, this vote was unanimous. Council members voted 13-0 to adopt the sanctuary city ordinance. Now, what it does is it officially prohibits any city resources from being used to help federal immigration enforcement.
Immigrant Angelenos are facing their gravest attacks. And those attacks are coming from the incoming administration that has said to us a very clear threat: mass arrest and deportations.
Those attacks. To be fair, she was actually referring to this Los Angeles gang, the Administration. So that is...
Oh.
Yeah. Los Angeles is not the only place that is trying to do this. You have San Francisco, Chicago, Seattle, Denver, D.C.
And the list goes on. Look
All
at
the
that. Look at that.
shitholes.
Look at that.
All the cities where legal immigrants have to live in perpetual fear because of their drug cartel overlords. Let's be real. You can go back to the Change My Mind. Remember where we had a lady come up and say, hey, in Austin, what can I do? I have these people in my neighborhood, but I can't call the police because there are so many of them, and I know that I will be the target of retribution. And it broke my heart.
You
Do you realize that's what these people live under? This idea, when you try and create, again, I've said this, when you try and create a culture of fake victims, you actually victimize real people. In this case, people who are trying to follow the law, who actually have a dream of making it here in America. So let's go to what sanctuary cities actually can do and what they cannot do. Just so you're not caught flat-footed when you have some liberals say, well, actually, the federal government, the president doesn't have the authority. You can tell them, no, that's incorrect. So sanctuary cities, they can prevent local law enforcement from reporting on immigration status, okay? They can prevent local law enforcement from cooperating with federal law enforcement. What they cannot do is prevent federal law enforcement in any sanctuary city or municipality from carrying out immigration policies, period. In other words, federal law enforcement can grab people and deport them. The local law enforcement may say, no, we're not going to be a part of this. Federal law enforcement absolutely, under orders that come from the United States president, can say, well, we're going to do our job anyway.
Think about that. The local law enforcement, the people that are there to serve the communities, will actively fight against the interest of the communities that they're trying to serve. And you're depending on the federal. This is the inverse of how we set this thing up.
Right.
Like the local authorities were supposed to be taking care of the cities and just give very little power to the federal guys because they have no idea what's good for us.
Right.
How can you have a city that look like if you don't go into a city with guns, not ablazing, but like get out of the way because people have broken the law and they're in your jails and we're taking them and putting them back where they came from. How is that not an issue that people go, yeah, you go in and you overthrow the idiots in charge of this city and you put in new people by electorate. Go vote for them.
Well, the thing is, people in positions of power, they're actually fighting against the will of the American people at this point in time. Boy, if local law enforcement could have done a better job with Blake and Riley. They were just talking about that on CNN. Yeah, did a bang up job, didn't they? Here's why. Look, even when the left, they'll lie to you. And they'll say, actually, this is a group of people who are twice as law-abiding as natural-born citizens. It's not true. They'll cite Cato or whatever it is. It's not true. Immigrants as a group, sure, tend to commit crimes less. Immigrants as a whole, you actually can't find the numbers on illegal immigrants because they don't tend to answer polls, and it's very hard to get an accurate number when people are here off the books illegally. What you do know is they represent a disproportionate number of inmates in federal prisons. They should represent 0% in federal prisons because they need to be deported. So when the left tries to say, actually, these people are just coming here and they're not breaking the law, it's not true. And you know what? Every single person who dies, is mugged, raped by an illegal immigrant is a tougher pill to swallow for that family because it's one that shouldn't have happened anyway and was entirely preventable. And we have laws for it. This is the law, actually. USC 24A, Section A, it says, this subsection prohibits alien smuggling, domestic transportation of unauthorized aliens, concealing or harboring unauthorized aliens, encouraging or inducing unauthorized aliens to enter the United States, and engaging in a conspiracy or aiding and abetting any of the preceding acts. So there's a lot out there that these sanctuary cities can't do. They're basically saying they are going to break the law. Let me give you an example. In 2018, there was a Massachusetts judge. This person was charged with helping an illegal alien escape ICE. Okay? This illegal alien was in court over drug charges. The judge knew that ICE was waiting for the illegal alien to leave the courtroom, likely to deport him. The judge let the illegal go through the basement to escape out the back door.
What?
So this judge, knowing that this person was enough of a problem that ICE was saying, okay, this person has to go, helped an illegal alien escape. By the way, I don't know if you know, it's really tough to track said illegal alien afterward. No idea if he went on to harm anybody else. We can't possibly know. The Biden administration, right, the DOJ, completely dropped charges against the judge.
Oh, that's criminal.
Oh, really?
Wow.
What point is that treason?
Yes, that's what I mean. Like, these people are actively working against the will of the American people. And by the way, research, do me a favor. I just saw this scroll across. in that bill that was signed by all 13-0 in Los Angeles to kind of do that, they actually tagged on sanctuary status for LGBTQ persons, people, whatever, in schools as well as just in the city in Los Angeles. Was that cover? Was that like, hey, probably not going to get it passed if it's just sanctuary city for people who shouldn't be here illegally? Let's tag on the LGBTQ community in schools and everything else to make sure that this
I don't think so. The
13-0.
name that's the city that's named in Spanish. I don't think that's
No. I know, but I mean, why would you do that? Why would you tag that on to things that seem kind of unrelated?
Well, let's go on.
Find out.
Well, yeah, we'll have them find out. But let's go on to New York because even Eric Adams has acknowledged that this is a problem. And it's surprising because it's Eric Adams. You're like, oh, this guy's probably going to say something bad. On The View, you go, oh, it's definitely going to be bad. Actually, kind of stated some truths in agreement with Donald Trump and how illegal immigration has affected New York City.
I don't believe in mass deportation, but I don't believe in mass saturation. 220,000 migrants and asylum seekers came to the city, cost us $6.4 billion. I'm not allowed to let them work. I'm not allowed to have them be participating in the tax base of this city. We can't deport those who commit crimes in our hotels, city. We are not allowed to connect with
debit
ICE.
cards.
This is a failed system. We need to fix it. And if we don't fix it, we're seeing what's happening in Chicago, what's happening in Houston, what's happening in Denver. This is wrong for cities to pick up this course.
Only when Donald Trump in 2016 said we needed to fix it, you said it was racist.
Yeah.
The left, they politicize everything while accusing you of politicizing it. Barack Obama deported 3 million, more than anyone ever. It wasn't the same political until Donald Trump said, okay, we need to fix the immigration issue. Then it became, all right, this is a wedge issue now. It's a racial thing.
Yeah.
They want to die on that hill.
By the way, Eric Adams, don't be a sanctuary city.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? That's a good start.
There you go. Otherwise, I screw you. I don't care how much it costs you.
Here's another one, too. And I want to be, this is a key fact 3 here because there's a lot of discussion around this and a lot of people aren't necessarily clear on this. President Donald Trump can actually go a little bit further here and end outright birthright citizenship. Now, before we show his clip, I want to be clear about this because it's kind of like one of those no cash bail things where people don't fully understand. What we're talking about with birthright citizenship is the idea that anyone born on American soil is automatically a United States citizen, regardless of the immigration status of their parents, right? This, of course, manifests itself in like anchor babies, right, where they'll have a child here, illegal aliens, to try and gain status, or there's even something called birth tourism. So this is how the system gets gamed, where you have foreign nationals go, oh, okay, she's 8.5 months pregnant. Let's get to the United States. It could be a visa, or it could just be touching soil here. Go, oh, they're born here. So it's their equivalent of wet foot, dry foot, kind of. Only it's actually not constitutional. We'll get into that. And Donald Trump does have the authority to end this interpretation of birthright citizenship, which he said he would do. Here's the video.
As part of my plan to secure the border on day one of my new term in office, I will sign an executive order making clear to federal agencies that under the correct interpretation of the law, going forward, the future children of illegal aliens will not receive automatic U.S. citizenship.
Okay, now that we've explained it, let me sort of deconstruct this claim from the left. Their claim is that birthright citizenship, as we know it, and as it has been practiced, like we said, baby tourism, anchor babies, all of this, that it's protected by the Constitution and the 14th Amendment. That is what the left wants you to believe.
Birthright citizenship guarantees that people born in the U.S. receive citizenship, regardless of the parent's nationality. It was adopted after the Civil War to secure citizenship for former slaves. The Supreme Court later confirmed the interpretation of the 14th Amendment that birthright citizenship is unequivocal in the 1898 Wong Kim Ark case.
Was that Don Bongino in black and white?
In 1898?
So here's the truth. No, it's not unequivocal. That's a misstatement.
Yeah.
This is a complete misinterpretation of the 14th Amendment. Let me read this for you. Section 1 of the 14th Amendment makes pretty clear. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. So, according to the Michigan Senator, Jacob Howard, who drafted the 14th Amendment, he said this meant that citizenship should not be extended to people who share any loyalty to another country.
It's even broader.
Oh, so when you see one of those flags on a car or on a bedroom window.
In other words, if you are not subject to the jurisdiction here in the United States, no, you are not a citizen. And you don't simply automatically get citizenship because you happen to come here when your live-in girlfriend was 8.5 months pregnant.
It would make no sense, like, logically.
Yes.
People could just fly in and do it all the time.
So what you have is the 14th...
No, I know. I'm saying they shouldn't be able to.
So I want to make sure that you guys really understand, because this is something the left is trying... They'll just throw out the term birthright citizenship, right? Well, he wants to end birthright citizenship. That's as American as apple pie. First off, no, and apple pie isn't all that American. We kind of co-opted it, but that's beside the point. You are incorrect. I just read the 14th Amendment, okay? I told you about the man who drafted the 14th Amendment, who clarified it, and we have another truth, the Supreme Court rulings on this issue. Really, there's only been one major ruling, and it ruled exactly how we have described this to you. It's the United States versus Wong Kim Ark. The court actually ruled that a child born in the United States of parents of Chinese descent but have a permanent domicile and resident in the United States, and okay, it goes on, are not employed in any diplomatic or official capacity under the Emperor of China become at the time of his birth a citizen of the United States by virtue of the first clause of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. So, to be clear, this child's parents were legal residents, which granted citizenship according to the 14th Amendment. What that means is, again, you have to be subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. If you are not and you have a child, it doesn't change it. You're not just all citizens.
Right.
Time after time after time, this has been crystal clear. For some reason, Americans have just accepted this idea that, if you're born in the United States, then everyone gets a pass.
Right.
If people have literally been here for 4 days and happen to drop a baby on American soil, that's absurd. And it's not how it works. It's not how it works in countries across the globe throughout human history.
Logically, nobody should expect it to work that way, too, because there is a cost to this, right? To your citizen in the United States that comes with benefits.
Right.
Right? So it's not just a random thing that happened. And by the way, the Wong Kim Ark judgment or ruling was exactly what the person cited in that video saying Donald Trump didn't have the authority to do it. And it's like, I don't think you're following this. Right. If they're here legally, yes. Mm-hmm. If they're not, no. Yep. This should be very cut and dry for people.
Yes, exactly.
So the Taliban should just have, a kid over here and be like, all right, we're going to have a little cell there. It's going to take 20 or so years to, mature, but we'll get it.
Parents are not here legally? No. If they're here legally? Yes. Clear enough? So here are some suggestions as to maybe what can be done. Donald Trump could issue an executive order instructing federal agencies to not issue government documents to children of illegal aliens. That could be done. Congress could pass a law clarifying that only children of citizens and legal permanent residents could be citizens. Again, just to undergird what we already know to be true. So that could be used when the left tries to push these talking points, which are factually incorrect, and making it very clear there is no constitutional right that is protected to this idea of birthright citizenship. There is no right for a city to say, actually, we're not going to allow the federal government or the president to deport criminals. And more important than that, think about this. The left is not, I've said this before, they're not just fighting for anchor babies right now. They're fighting for the first 1.3 million illegals who are scheduled to be deported who are criminals. They've chosen to fight right now. Gavin Newsom, Los Angeles City Council, they didn't say, all right, let's get rid of the criminals. Let's do that first, and then we'll talk about the anchor babies. No, they have chosen to make the stand. You will not deport a violent felon from our municipality. What does that tell you? Why? It begs the question, why? And how do you find common ground with that kind of evil? Genuine question. Why? It cannot be on behalf of you, the American people. It can't. So is it to buy a voting base? Is it control? Is it simply because Orange Man bad? There are a multitude of answers, but none of them lead you to the path that, these sanctuary cities, these leftists are looking out for you. And you have said it, including Hispanic Americans. This is a very odd time in history, but it's an exciting time. And for some insight on what all of this may look like, I guess we have Ignacio.
Yeah, we got him on the line, phone line.
Okay, our immigration correspondent on the line to weigh in. Mr. Ignacio, can you hear me, sir? All right.
Por favor, call me Nacho.
Right, my apologies, Nacho. Do you have any plans now that Trump has floated using the military to deport illegal aliens?
Sí. I'm going to join in the army. Then I'm going to deport mi prima Sancho porque me robo mi Xbox.
Who? It sounds kind of personal. Something about an Xbox. Are you joining the army so you can avoid being deported and simultaneously someone stole your Xbox? Is that what happened, or you want to?
That's right. But I'm gonna be alright, because I still have my PlayStation and Call of Duty, so I can learn how to do my military duties and still have a little fun.
Oh, that's good. I'm really happy for you. Do you have any plans though once the deportations are complete?
Coyotes make a lot of money. Maybe I could try that.
Well, that seems like a step backwards, regression, Ignacio.
Coyotes walk in a sideways pattern to camouflage their path, You know, they're lightweight and they can hide their tracks. Like one of those pinche zombies in the Circle K parking lot.
Okay, Tim, you can cut it. I think that we've gotten everything we need.
I think he said enough, yeah.
Ignacio. Hey, if you're still watching this video, comment below. Sorry, I'm parched. I can't drink from that. But you can click the video and watch it. But what is it? Is it a hat?